Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Michael's Corner. Tonight, I will be interviewing a referee that has been a referee for a long time. His name is TJ Bowles. Um, like I said, he's one good referee. So can't wait to bring him on. But before I bring him on, let's do my social plugins. You guys can follow me on Facebook at Michael's Corner. Twitter X will be at Michael Pam. Don't forget, I am outspoken on X, just so you know. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Michael's Wrestling Channel. So you guys know the drill. Um just hit that like button and whatnot. Subscribe button. Make sure you turn on notifications so you won't miss out on any episodes. I mean, any content that I post on YouTube. Um, so there you have it. So let's not waste any more time. Um, let's see if I can bring in TJ Bowles.
Hey,
Hi, how's it going?
it's a going. How's it going for you?
It's going wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
Yeah, no worries. I'm happy to be here. I love doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So I got a few questions to ask you. I ask the wrestlers this question all the time here on Michael's Corner, but now I get to ask a referee this question. How did you get your start in indie pro wrestling?
So like everybody else, I grew up a fan. Uh, it all started from a friend of mine in middle school borrowing me a game I had never heard of before called WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64. And I got hooked hard. Loved the game. Still a great game to this day, as everybody knows. And I just started watching wrestling any way I can consume it. Usually, I was watching SmackDown in my bedroom by myself with the lights off without my parents knowing because they weren't too thrilled about it. So I would sneak up and watch SmackDown a lot, and I would just try and keep up with it with my friends. Anyways, years down the road, and I decided I wanted to do this, just like everybody does. And like everyone, I wanted to be a pro wrestler because that's the first thing everybody wants to do, right? And ended up moving from West Virginia up here to Wisconsin. And I was like, I'm in Green Bay, or I was near Green Bay at the time, Oconto. I was like, there has to be some sort of professional wrestling around here. So Green Bay is a big city. It's known pretty well outside of Wisconsin, right?
Right.
And on MySpace, I found a page called ACW Pro Wrestling. And it was a wrestling company based in Green Bay, and they had a show coming up in like a week or something like that at the now famous, at least to our bubble, Baba Louie's in De Pere. And I was texting a number that was on an ad that was played on their MySpace page, and the
Hmm.
person on there said, "Yeah, show up at this place at noon on Saturday, May 9th, 2009, and just help set up the ring, and we'll see what we can do for you. Just ask for Dylan." I'm like, all right, cool. So I show up noon. There is a school bus there painted with NWA Wisconsin logo on the side of it. And I just start immediately, hey, what can I grab? And I just start listening to people and just start setting up. And I just don't act like a dumbass, I guess. I just act like myself and do, the right things, I guess, helped out here and there. And then asked for a guy named Dylan. And walking across this sand pit was a midget. And I did not recognize him immediately. He comes up, shakes my hand, and I'm like, oh, okay, short person. Pro wrestling is normal, right? And we walk to a table, and he talks to me about how I told him I wanted to be a professional wrestler, just like everyone else. And he told me that, that's achievable. A lot of the people in the indie leagues aren't exactly the most built and everything, and that's fine because it's basically AAA baseball. And I was like, I don't, even if it's not professional, being a professional wrestler, I want to be the bell guy. I'd want to be the guy who brings the truck. I want to be a referee. I want to be a wrestler manager, music guy, anything. I just wanted to be involved because I loved the showmanship and the style of everything within the universe of professional wrestling. And yeah, from there, I did security on that show, and I helped take ring boards, extra ring boards, back to the owner's house. The owner's name was Jason Jerry. He's kind of a legend in the Green Bay area.
Mhm.
And I talked about how I would want to do anything at all. Don't care what I do. Help take off the ring boards. And then the very next show, they said, hey, you wanted to be a referee, right? I was like, yeah, anything. And they were like, all right, well, let's see what you got. And they threw a ref shirt on me. And I did some practice matches, not on the actual card. Just some boys rolling around and stuff before the show and everything, before the fans got let in. And
Okay.
I literally just copied what I saw on TV. That was it. This looks like it makes sense, and I did that, right?
Okay.
And Dylan was there again. He watched, and he was like, need to be more assertive. All right. And luckily enough, two other guys were willing to have a little just roll around chain wrestling type match in the beginning of a show. And he was like, all right, you got a spot on the card. And from there forward, I've just been a referee and kind of always still wanted to be a pro wrestler for like within the first year, probably 6 months. But then I fell in love with refing and I would never want to do anything else. I tell people all the time, even if I had the talent and the body and stuff, I would want to ref instead of wrestle every day of the week. Love it. And then watching Monday Night Raw randomly, found out that Dylan guy was Hornswoggle. Never knew. Didn't recognize him right away. So
Mhm. Oh, okay. That's good. That's an interesting story. Yeah, so like I said, how long have you been a referee?
I've only been a referee, really. I've wrestled 3 times just to see if I can do it, which I was able to. It was pretty nice. Snapped my ankle in half in the first match, but other than that, everything else went pretty well. Refing, I've been doing it essentially for just over 15 years now. I'm in my 16th year. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, it's wild. The more people say wow, the more I tell people that, and just yesterday I was just starting, I feel like. But yeah, I've been doing it for about 15 years. I took a 2 year, not a hiatus, but kind of a break just to see what life would be like without wrestling, and I hated it. And even then, I still ref like 4, 5, 6 shows in that year. Um,
Mhm.
I went from like 70 shows a year or so down to like six, and then did that for like 2 years. I hated it. I realized professional wrestling is the world for me, and yeah, so now I'm still chugging it out about 60 to 70 shows a year, probably about. I actually keep track of all this stuff because I'm a weirdo who loves statistics, and I do about 250 to 300 matches a year. So
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I love it.
So, so what are your favorite matches that you like to referee?
Honestly, any of them that I can show that I can be trusted in the ring, I guess, if that makes sense. Um,
Okay.
the first one I love to ref, I would say, is always with my friends. Um, I've developed a pretty good relationship with a lot of people in a lot of locker rooms. I consider a lot of people friends, some, of them even best friends, even outside of wrestling. Like going to baseball games together or playing video games at each other's houses or just a bunch of random stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
like being in the ring with my friends the most. Whatever match puts me in that position because I like to have fun in the ring. I like to keep it entertaining for me because if I do the same thing every time, it starts to get boring for anything in life. Um, Like I'm known with a group of people, with a group of the wrestlers. I just talk in the ring for funsies. Like in the beginning when I'm, sometimes if I'm checking them for weapons, I'll tell them a random bird fact. Like, did you know the peregrine falcon could dive at speeds of 172 miles per hour? Or Benjamin
Mhm,
Franklin didn't want the bald eagle because, as a national bird, because he thought that
mhm.
as a scavenger, it was a bad look for America. And I'll just catch my friends off guard, and they'll be like, "I didn't know that." I'm like, "Well, now you know." And I walk over to the other guy. Or just stupid stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I like to have fun in the ring, but and being with my best friends makes it so much easier. Um,
Mhm,
otherwise, yeah, any match that just shows that I can be trusted, I guess, because that's like the biggest badge you can wear as a ref is, I don't care if I'm refing main events. I do it too often, to be honest. I don't care if I'm refing championship matches. Um, I just care about being put in positions that helps build trust in the locker room. Um,
mhm.
just because that's a good feeling. There's no better feeling than, oh, we have TJ, easy, okay, easy night, and then they could just put anything they want into the match and have faith that I know how to execute it, you know,
Mhm.
as opposed to, ooh, we have Kyle, man, all right, well, hey, we got to change this and this. He can't really handle that. So just having that trust. So any match that gives me that.
Mhm. So, going back to what you were saying about you took a 2 years off of wrestling and whatnot. What made you decide to take 2 years off?
At that point, I'd been doing it for, I don't know, 11, 12 years, something like that. And I was like, yeah, I feel like it's been quite a while. I've lasted longer than the Beatles did. I've
Mhm.
lasted in a lot of professional wrestling, a lot of professional sport athletes. Longer career than a lot of them. And I feel like I've done a lot. And at that point, I was hitting my head on the ceiling. I felt like because there was really nothing much more I could do, at least in the state of Wisconsin. It felt like, and I
Mhm.
just wanted to know what life would be like if I never got into professional wrestling. I still stay connected with it. I did a pretty, from my understanding, successful YouTube series called Between Counts, which I'm very, very proud of. Um, so I stayed in touch that way. I still ref like six, 7 shows, I think. A few times I was requested, and a few times I refed a few of my friends' final matches, stuff like that. So I still stayed relevant, I guess is the best word. But yeah, I just wanted to see what life would be like outside of wrestling. And it sucked. Man, it's boring. I have no idea how people can go to work, come home, watch TV, sleep, wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, sleep over and over and over again. Like, man, everybody's got to have a hobby. Everybody's got to have something to do on the weekends. And like, just people living like that, like, yo, if that's how you do it, cool, great for you, man. That's awesome to whoever does that. But I could not do that. I couldn't.
Yeah, yeah. And you know something? Like I said, I actually used to go to indie pro wrestling shows way before the last one I went to was probably when I was in high school. One of my I was in a special ed program. So one of the staff members was telling me about this indie pro wrestling. She had tickets to go to the event and she asked me if I wanted to go. And I said, absolutely. So she packed me up from my house and she took me to this wrestling show. And like I said, at the time I was a teenager, so I was probably shy and naive, you
Yeah,
know.
like
But
many are.
yeah. But since then, it was 2011. Because usually before I went to indie pro wrestling shows, you know,
Hmm.
I used to go to work, um, come home, relax, play my video games, take care of my parents, and then repeat over
Mhm.
and over again. And that's what I did before, way before I got to go to indie pro wrestling shows. Um that all changed until February. It was around a couple of months before the show.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, 2 months before the show. My coworker asked me, "Oh, there's a wrestling show in Lester Prairie, Minnesota, if you know what that is."
I think
Um,
so.
so I told her, yes, let me consult with my parents and whatnot. My parents gave me the green light. So my coworker took me to Lester Prairie on a snowy night,
Ooh.
and I went to this wrestling show at a bar, and I saw the wrestling action. And I gotta tell you, I had the best time. Best time, you know. I made new friends and whatnot, and then I started to go to more wrestling shows in 2011 because this is something that I wanted to do, you know.
Mhm.
This is, because I was just doing the same thing. I was going to work, coming home, relaxing, playing on my video games, watching TV and whatnot. And because I ain't had nothing else to do, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm like you. So now I am I'm going to more wrestling shows than I had since 2011.
Yeah. Uh,
So
that's the coolest thing about pro wrestling too, is like, especially on the indie scene, which I love more than any other thing is the indie wrestling. Like I love the fact that it's ever evolving, ever changing, has such a niche fandom, which is best fandom in the world. Um,
mhm,
it's so cool that people can like. There's always a show to go to. Almost every weekend, there's a show to go to, like within driving distance. Granted, my
mhm,
driving distance is a bit crazier than others, but there's
mhm.
always something to do, somewhere to go. Um, you meet like-minded people who just love professional wrestling, love the whole spectacle of it all. And honestly, indie wrestling is so much better than the stuff you see on TV. I think just because when was the
Mhm.
last time you saw, I don't know, Dominic Mysterio get chopped by a fan? Like that kind of stuff doesn't happen. Like
Yeah.
you don't see somebody, you don't see like, I don't know, you don't see Braun Strowman tell someone to put their foot up while they throw somebody else into it.
Yeah.
And they don't really interact with the fans there live in attendance outside of maybe a promo. They'll make reference to them, or maybe during a match, maybe on a random spot on the outside that ends up becoming viral just because it's so uncommon, unfortunately. Like
Mhm.
professional, like indie wrestling is so much better because of all that stuff. It really is a community.
Yeah. And you know something? And I get this asked by some fans from time to time, why do you like indie pro wrestling so much? So I made a post the other day about on my Facebook fan page, Michael's Corner, and I dived down into deep into that question. Um, I just love the wrestling action, you know. I love the wrestling action, and what is not just the wrestling action. I like it because it's a time where I get my everybody comes together
Hmm.
as a family, That's my family. Like each wrestling show that I go to, this is my family.
Yeah.
We all hang out because even though I'm not qualified as a wrestler, you know something? I'm family.
Yeah.
No matter what, I consider family. When I go to, like, for example, MIW, which I'll be going this Saturday,
Oh, nice.
um, I go there. Oh my God, Terry Fox puts
Yeah.
on the best damn shows, wrestling shows. It's
Yeah.
been running. He's been running shows since 2003,
Hmm.
and I love going to his shows because of the storylines and and whatnot. They
Hmm.
put on great matches and whatnot. And also too, what I like about indie pro wrestling, I'm probably gonna get my hand slapped when I say this, but I don't have to worry about being stuck under under a contract
Yeah.
because each wrestler has their own contract. They
Yep.
can go wherever they want. They don't
Yep.
have to worry about being, I was like, you know what? Being stuck on a contract like WWE or TNA or AEW. They want to be able, you want to be able to wrestle wherever you want, you know,
Hmm.
and still got your own contract. And, you could go anywhere you want without being told what to do.
Hmm.
And I still see that a lot. People, promoters saying that, oh, if you wrestle for me, oh, you can't wrestle for that promotion or
Uh,
this promotion.
I'm pretty
And I
proud.
feel like that is still going on.
I'm pretty proud because I believe, at least in the Wisconsin area, I can only speak for areas that I'm most familiar with. Wisconsin, I know like the back of my hand. I have an open door like situation with almost anywhere in the state. I'm pretty sure. Like I just show up and I can usually get a booking or something like that, right? So I have my finger on the pulse of Wisconsin pretty well. And granted, we're just a bubble, just like everywhere else is.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, at least in Wisconsin, I know that a lot of the boys, a lot of the independent wrestlers, there's not really that much of an issue of that here. And I feel like a shared saying, a shared thought here, which I would carry over anywhere I went, because referees are the same situation, the same deal. If anywhere, I don't care who you are, unless you're paying the rent in my house, unless you're paying my mortgage, I'm going to go with this mentality. If anybody ever tells me to, hey, if you go, if you either you can't work for them or you won't work for me, that kind of thing, well, you just made my decision easier. Then I'm going to go with them because they're not going to put me under that lock and chain.
Yeah.
Wisconsin's pretty darn good with that. I know a lot of Chicago places as well, and at least everywhere I work, so like personal experience. And plus, I kind of before I go somewhere, I always kind of scout it out to see how it is. Um, Anywhere I work in Minnesota, so some of the places, for example, Ironheart Pro, MAW, Pinnacle Pro, a new place that just got going is really good. Discover Pro, amazing place. Um, None of those places are like that. Those are all very, open
Mm-hmm.
contract, I guess you could say it as well. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty proud of every. There is not a promotion I making sure there's not a promotion I work for that I am not proud of to work for. So at least right now.
Yeah. So like, so when you got, so when you started out, in the wrestling business, did you have to deal with the naysayers or people commenting on, oh, he does, or you don't belong here, and blah 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 blah. And if so, how do you handle the naysayers? And because there gotta be some naysayers out there, you
Oh yeah.
know.
I am very lucky. Same thing happened when I did a little bit of a stint in the military. I was in the military for a very small amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow I'm really good at flying under the radar. I'm really like drill sergeants wouldn't even recognize me, or at least they would say that because I get told to do this, I do this, it's fine. You know, you just do what you're told and nothing will happen. But anyways, in professional wrestling, I was lucky enough to where when I came in, there was one other referee in this area named Brett Johnson. Really, really good ref, great ref. He's long since left the business, but and then once he left the business, it was me, just me, in all of Northeast Wisconsin, um, because everybody wants to be a wrestler. Nobody wanted to be a ref, right? And if it wasn't me, it was usually some random Joe Schmo that they would bring in. I don't mean that to sound insultive, but it was because I wouldn't even remember their names because it would last like 3 or 4 shows and that was it. Or it would be
Mhm.
someone who would mess everything up. Like you couldn't trust to have a match with them because one example was there's this one cat, I won't name his name, but he went down for a pinfall, and this was a person named Silas Young, Ring of Honor superstar, working a local guy named Brian Skyline, and he goes down for the count and goes 1, 2. Is this the finish? Live, like oh my god. So because of stuff like that, I never got any of the hazing. I never got any of the green kid treatment of, hey, buy us a drink or you kind of need you to buy drinks. I never got any of that because it was like, go ahead and kick me out of the business. And you're stuck with them. And that was really just a stroke of luck. Um, so luckily, I've never had those situations. Um, randomly, rarely, if there's ever refs, other refs, because refs can get pretty territorial, right? They really can,
Mhm.
because most refs don't travel. I try and travel. I'm doing pretty all right at it, but it's not easy. It's a whole new ball game. But some refs can get pretty territorial, and sometimes you ruffle some feathers, and then honestly, just stupid politics type things come into play. But
Mhm.
I've never had anybody say I don't really belong, which I've always felt good about. And like I said, I think it's because I've been in for 16 years now, my 16th
Mhm.
year now. So everybody I'm working with now has gotten in after me. So I've turned into that person.
Oh,
I will say I have some really good friends though who have had that, and they just, I don't want to say they deal with it, but they use it or they remember it and they just keep doing what they're doing. I'm a
that's
huge
good.
racing fan. I am much more of a car racing fan than I am of a wrestling fan. I'm even wearing a hat. Takuma Sato. I'm going to an IndyCar race this weekend, and he's one of my
Mhm.
favorite drivers. Right, I'm a huge racing fan, and
Okay.
I it connects because in racing, in order to get ahead or to do as honestly as best as you truly can, you stick to your lane. You stick to your race. Don't care about what everyone else is doing around you. You stick to your times. You hit your marks. You hit your moments. Other people are going to spin out, or other people are going to have problems of their own. As long as you stick to your lane and you stick to your drive, even if you don't win, you're going to do truly the best you can do. Get 110% out of the vehicle. So
Mhm.
when it comes to situations like that, I just stick to the same thing. If I ever have any naysayers, even if it's in real life and like my job and everything, like as long as you stick to what you know you're doing is right and then to the best of your ability, accepting help when it is right and truthful, and just ignoring everything else, then that's all you really need to do, and you will outlast the people with negative thoughts. You will outlast people with just ego problems, I guess is the best way to put it. You'll outlast all of them because you're sticking to your
Mhm.
lane. You're not getting caught up in that stuff.
Mhm. And I have to say too is I've been I've been going to independent pro wrestling shows for ooh oh about about 12 or 13 years. Um and I've been in the wrestling biz for about 10 out of those last 12, 13 years that I've been going to wrestling shows. And like I said, I just go there as a fan, sit in the front row, and you'll see me often. Oftentimes, I like to film some of the matches and whatnot, and I like to heckle. You know, I like to heckle at the heels,
Yeah.
heel wrestlers and whatnot. Um, then it's like I do get some naysayers from time to time, on the internet. You know, they'll say stuff like, "Oh, he should be banned from from pro wrestling shows and blah 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 blah." And my only issue is I having a problem, I let that get under my skin. You know, I
It's easy
let
to
what
do that though
people
too.
say. Yeah, I let that affect me, but this was in the past. But I think now I'm kind of accepting, people are going to say stuff about me.
Hmm.
And it's like whether if it's positive or negative, at least they're talking about me
Yeah. Just
because
remember the economy is terrible and talk is cheap. So everyone's going to do it because that's the only thing they can afford, you know? Like
yeah.
actions speak louder than words and everybody has commentary, everybody has opinions. So this, like I said about sticking to your lane, like do you ever
Hmm.
in any of those situations, do you ever believe the professional wrestlers or any of the talent on the card or
Hmm.
the promotion itself, do any of them have a genuine serious problem with you? If the answer is no, keep doing what you're doing. Nothing wrong with it. Like
Yeah.
as long as you ain't like actually bothering talent or anything like that, like or being truly genuinely negative, um, like
Hmm.
there's no wrong with it. And it's usually people talking is just cheap talk, and they
Yeah.
don't know what else to do. Like they're bored.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Talk is cheap,
And
man. Talk is cheap.
I want to bring up another point too is, you know, like I said, um, I I have a wrestling podcast, Michael's Corner and whatnot, and like Michael's Corner is getting kind of big, and my
I got a lot of
YouTube
subscribers on
channel,
YouTube.
yeah, my YouTube channel is getting big,
Nice.
and I'm getting close to 1,400 subscribers.
Very impressive.
And one of my subscribers suggests that I keep posting content every week because I want to build up my subscribers, my subscribers,
Hmm.
and whatnot. And the point I want to bring up is I do like ask some of the wrestlers, I won't mention names, but I did ask this particular wrestler if can I'm interested in doing an interview with you. And unfortunately, it didn't, you know, it didn't go my way. He
Hmm.
actually declined, and I won't mention names, but he chose to be deliberate and, you know,
Hmm.
and I said, he could have said, no, I'm not interested,
Hmm.
because I would have respect that wrestler 100 times better
Hmm.
instead of putting me down. So, what I did instead?
Hmm.
I just used that as motivation.
Yeah.
I used that as motivation. Like Rhea Ripley, when people online starting to picking on her, you know what she does?
Hmm.
She uses that as motivation.
Nice.
And that's what I did in this case. Was I was hurt by what this wrestler has said about me? Yeah. Has it brought me down? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it I grew, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how I got a wrestling podcast and band and my brand, Michael's Corner. You
Hmm.
I gotta run Michael's Corner. I gotta run my wrestling podcast. So I just gotta accept when some people say no, just go on to the next person, you know?
Yeah. I know some, so I know some of the wrestlers, some of the workers, some of the boys, they're always, there's a number of them who are, they're respectful in real life, right? Like the
Yeah.
actual, like John Smith, very awesome, respectful dude. However,
Mhm.
Smith John, his evil wrestling counterpart, is a douchebag. Too often people might, like the John Smith might forget who he is. He's John Smith, not Smith John, But I also know a lot of wrestlers are very protective of their brand and their personality, and they only want to do podcast or interviews in character, which kind of makes it difficult to interview based off of experience. But that's just what they want to do. So I've always respected that. But yeah, there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to go about it. Honestly, I
Mhm.
personally love doing podcast interviews, any kind of interview in general, because I say this because I have nothing to gain. I don't. I'm a traditional referee. I
Mhm.
do not lean in favor of being a heel ref. I don't want to be a face ref. I want to be a ref. Just ref.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because being a ref, you're the straight man of the match. You should be the everyman. You should be the fan in the match, right?
Right.
The referees' interactions and reactions and stuff like that should be the same that you would do if you were in that position. The same that any fan would do at any because I'm not a wrestler. I ain't got no muscle mass.
Hey.
I ain't got no second head growing out of my shoulder. I'm just a regular person. And so when you're a referee, that's how you should be, right? I'm just never ever been a fan of heel refs or face refs because you're a ref. That's enough.
Mhm.
Don't put a gimmick on a gimmick. You're the ref. You're the straight man. It's like the old comedy troops of like the early 20s and 30s, right? Where there would be Larry, Moe, and Curly. Larry was a straight man because that just extenuated how crazy Moe and crazy Curly was, right? So I've never been a big fan of any kind of gimmicked ref. But yeah, that aside, that sidetrack aside, so I have nothing to gain from saying this. I really don't because I don't sell merch, or I rarely ever sell merch. It's usually because I've traveled far from home and I want to be able to buy a hamburger on the way home without going broke. Um,
Mhm.
but so I have nothing to gain from this, but I genuinely, truly, with every part of my soul, love the fans. I love interacting with fans. I love helping fans. I love helping build podcasts or YouTube channels. I love giving what I can because I love this community and I love seeing this community grow. I love
Mhm.
just the overall appreciation and work, and I love the microcosm, the universe we live in, the crazy wild, especially like in the world of wrestling, like in the inner nucleus world of wrestling, just the wild world we live in. Like, brother, I got stories that you wouldn't believe. Brother, I got stories I shouldn't tell you. Brothers, I got stories that I legally can't say,
Okay.
Like, and it's all because of this crazy world of professional wrestling. So anything to help that chamber of professional wrestling I do. I genuinely love every fan, love all the fans, love all the podcasts. Um, so yeah, like that's why I do with these. That's why I'll never say no. So
Okay. So you mentioned something about video games. So, like, what does TJ likes to do when he's not referee? Um,
I love. So it depends on the mood I'm in. I've been
mhm.
playing a lot of my Super Nintendo Mini lately because I hacked it and put a lot of games on there from my childhood. But
Mhm.
I guess the games that I've been living in the most recently, anytime a Persona game comes out, I love those games, those Japanese RPGs. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm huge into Stardew Valley, big Stardew Valley fan. Alan
Okay.
Wake and Alan Wake 2, masterpieces. I love that storytelling.
Mhm.
Just the live action segments, I love it. Or if I just want
Mhm.
to turn my brain off and just play a game and get lost in the world, it's usually a racing game, honestly.
Okay.
Project Cars, I'm a huge fan of. Granted, it's a number of years old. Um, let's see, Forza, love Forza. Um, I love realistic racing games, not to a crazy degree of realistic. Like I still use a controller, bro. I don't use a wheel. I don't use a racing seat or anything like that. That's expensive. But I
Mhm.
still love use my controller. Um, love simulation games, Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, stuff like that. Or Planet Zoo,
Mhm.
Planet Culture, as they're known now. Um, been playing a lot of the oldies like Lara Croft, trying to get through that series. I play a little bit of everything. If it's good, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's good and I don't like it, I'll say it's good. It's just not for me. Never got into God of War, for example. Like I respect it, just not my thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, Number one, Nintendo though, Mario, Zelda, huge into that stuff.
Okay. Well, and I am into video games as well. So for me, I like to play mostly the sports games. Like I like to I like to play wrestling video games.
Mm.
Um I got every WWE SmackDown game. I got every WWE SmackDown versus Raw video game.
Hmm.
And I got every WWE 2K series that
Last
you can think of.
the last WWE or wrestling game at all I played, well, I think it was WWE 13, the one with Punk on the cover, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
that was the last one I played. Before that,
Mhm.
the N64 had the best era. I mean, you got WCW, NWO Revenge, WCW
Mhm.
World Tour, which is favorable. That's an underdog. No Mercy, of course, that's the one I grew up on and played so many hours of. WrestleMania 2000, just so many great games. Then I had a
Mhm.
GameCube. GameCube sucks. There are no real good wrestling games for the GameCube. I
Oh,
played Day of Reckoning 2 a lot. That wasn't
okay.
good, but I played it.
Yeah.
One game though I loved on the GameCube that isn't. I feel like it's starting to get a cult following, which makes my heart feel good.
Mhm.
WWE Crush Hour. I loved that game. That is stupid
Oh my
fun.
God.
I
I
love how
have
silly it
I
is.
have Crush Hour for PlayStation and
Mm.
I used to love that
It's so
game.
much fun.
I used
I just loved getting the commercials in between the levels. Like Edge when he was like it was like PP hair or something like that, some Japanese shampoo commercial he was doing, or cooking with Kane. I just love that stuff. Like honestly, Crush Hour is a fun game that doesn't get enough love. Is it silly? Is it stupid? Is it whatever? Yeah, that's what makes it awesome. Like
yeah, and
I
you
love it.
know something? I gotta get back to playing. I still got the game. I still gotta play that game because every time I used to love that game. I used to play that nonstop as you know
Hmm.
when I was quite younger, in my teens, I used to play that nonstop.
It's
And
so
then,
good. It's so fun.
yep. But the only back to my back to me now. Oh my God. I also love a wrestling game that tells a good story.
Hmm.
I like to play, the My Rise.
Yeah.
It could be either or. The My Rise. It's like, oh my God, how much time all these people took to make this video game.
Hmm.
So currently right now I'm playing WWE 2K24.
Okay.
And let me tell you, TJ, that is the best goddamn video game I played in a very long time.
Yeah. Every
Uh
time I get told, okay, so I think the reason that I fell out of love with WWE 2K games, man, why can't we get rope running right? Why can't we get hair physics down? So many glitches, so many bugs. So I moved on. That's all.
can I interrupt you for a second?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about, oh Lord, everybody probably will kill me when I say this. I think the worst game ever created was WWE 2K20.
Yeah. I
Oh,
heard a lot of bad stuff about that one. I heard a lot about stuff
oh
about that one.
my God. I I would go to a wrestling show. I was waiting for them to open the doors and whatnot. And I was telling this one ring announcer named Laszlo I was showing him what what they did to Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
What they created when they created her hairline was almost like bald. And then when she ran, I literally cracked up. And we were all cracking up. It's
See,
like WWE, they gotta do better than this.
see, that's why WWF No Mercy will always be there for me. Like the graphics, yeah, they're not great. It's the N64. What do you expect, right? It's polygons, but you can still kind of tell who it is. And here it is. You can kind of tell who it is enough to where it's not an insult. You know, like I could tell
Mm-hmm.
that's Kane. I could tell that's Vince McMahon. I could tell that's Stone Cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you need. Keep it simple. They're like, oh my God, the character creation. Bro, I don't care how many eyebrow hairs my guy has. Just give him eyebrows. Like, why is some of that stuff so detailed? Give me face 1 through face 78 to choose from, and I'll take my
Mm-hmm.
pick and run with it, right? Like,
Right.
oh my goodness, just I can't stand the character creation. I think it's really, really, really cool that you can create title belts, you can create arenas, and you can create them like anything you want to do, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
upload your own graphics and stuff. That's amazing. But can we just tone down on the character creation a bit and all this other wild out there stuff? You know, like I don't care about the length of the guy's earlobes. I'm not gonna see it. Like, why is
Mm-hmm.
that an option? Um,
Uh-huh. And another thing, what really pissed me off when what 2K WWE 2K20 did, they messed up Molly Holly.
yeah,
And it's like Molly Holly is a Hall of Famer. And it's like they messed up Molly Holly. I was like, this doesn't look anywhere near close to Molly Holly.
love Molly Holly too. I've met her
Yeah.
along with a few other people. Not to name drop, but I've met her and a few other people. Molly Holly, one of the nicest ladies I've ever met in my life. Her
Yeah.
and Victoria, two of the nicest ladies I've ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm. I actually met Molly Holly twice.
Oh yeah,
Yes. And I could tell you another thing. When you go to my YouTube channel, Michael's Wrestling Channel,
hmm
and there's a playlist that I created. If you go under Michael's Corner and interviews or episodes or whatnot, stroll. You might have to scroll all the way down. I got a chance to interview Molly Holly.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I just finished roughing a match, and usually when it comes to larger talents like that, bigger talents like that, they get bothered too much, I think, by some talents on the card. So I don't really interact with them unless I have a reason to. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did the match, come backstage, and Molly Holly was walking down the hallway. She said, "Hey, were you the ref for that women's match just now?" And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, you did good. You did a great job." And I was like, why, thank you, Miss Molly Holly. I did not ask for that, and that is awesome. And
Um,
that's
can
a
I
high uphill
also
writing for today.
Yeah, can I also tell you what Molly Holly said to me
Yeah,
after I was done interviewing her? She told me, Michael, is this your first time doing the interview? And I was like, no, you are so good.
yeah, she's an
And I said,
awesome
yeah.
person.
I said, you know what, Molly? And when I said Molly Holly doesn't have social media, now remember, she likes the simple life.
Yeah,
she, she cracked up.
maybe that's why she's so nice. She stays away from social media. She doesn't let it corrupt her like it's done to everyone else. You know.
Oh, I just love her. Every time I meet her, she's such a sweetheart. And
Mm.
I even told her about. I was like, I remember meeting you at that Steel Domain Wrestling show when they did a show with Wrestling for Gavin, who was
Mhm.
battling brain cancer
Yeah,
and whatnot. So they were doing a benefit show, and lucky enough, I believe Gavin is cancer free.
Oh, good. Awesome.
So yeah, and I saw him at a Steel Domain wrestling show last year.
Yeah.
He looked so great. I was
Good.
like, oh my God.
Good.
So I gotta
Yeah.
put
I,
it
I
out.
love I love hearing so much more frequently now than in the past. So and so's cancer free or so and so's beating cancer and stuff like that because it's much more common now than it was in the past, you know. And man, it's just good to hear. You know, you love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah. And that kind of reminds me, when I was watching WWE Raw and when Roman Reigns came out,
Hmm.
he's not in his wrestling because usually these superstars are in their gear, but he came out with his regular clothes. And when he announced to the world that he's battling leukemia for the second time,
Hmm.
I just, I just, that got me into tears, man. I gotta
Yeah.
be real with you, because my late sister, she had that in the past
Yeah.
when I was a lot younger, and unfortunately, she lost all her hair,
Yep.
and she was able to overcame leukemia.
Good.
So,
There's
uh,
actually a show I work every year in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, called One Fall Entertainment. That's the name of the company, OFE, and they do complete like a cancer dedicated show that raises money for a group called Pink Heels. And
mm-hmm,
yeah, it's One Fall Entertainment. OFE Pink Heels is the name of the show, and every October they have it out here in Sheboygan, and they do a bit in the beginning before the show even starts where everybody in the crowd, you know, sits down and they say, if you have ever had cancer and you're a survivor, currently battling, stand up. And then if you know anybody who's been battling cancer, show up. If you've lost anybody to, you know, battling cancer, please stand up. And they just go through that kind of a list. And by the end, everybody's standing up and it, you know, to show just how much cancer really affects everybody, you know, and how it's
mm-hmm,
a battle that luckily a lot more people again are taking care of in a positive way, right? And
right.
yeah, and it's just a really good thing to. I always enjoy being on that show because of that. You know, my mother had breast cancer, defeated it. I have a coworker who
Mm-hmm,
has breast cancer. She's almost done defeating it. You know, I have a friend out in Pittsburgh had cancer, defeated it. Um, like it's crazy that I feel like, granted, people still unfortunately pass away from it, but I feel like when you hear someone say they have cancer, it's not as much of a death toll as it used to be back in the day. You know, it's not as much as you know the bells are ringing for that person anymore. You know, because
mm-hmm,
it's not as it's still a threat, but it's not as much of a threat as it used to be. Thankfully, you know, so we're going in the
right.
right direction on it.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, you said that you took some time away from wrestling, and it absolutely sucked. So, what made you get back into wrestling after taking that hiatus?
Just staying with it, getting the itch again. I guess the best way to say it. Local company here that was called Wisconsin Professional Wrestling is now called Hybrid Wrestling Entertainment. That I have a part in here in Green Bay. Um, Two people named Aaron Arsenal, who is a great talent. He's going to be one of the greats from this area for sure. One of the greats in the Midwest, whole Midwest, and another wrestler by the name of Jay Cash. They were cutting some promos back and forth, having a bit of a feud, and just how well it was happening and how well everything was going gave me the itch to where I finally contacted someone and said, "Hey, I want to get back in," and they were like, "All right, yeah, I figured, show up," and that was it. And then I said, you know, word got out that I was taking books again, and right back to the book, you know, right back to the booking lifestyle. But yeah, Aaron Arsenal and Jay Cash, I give all the credit to really driving it home to me getting back in professional wrestling full time. Plus, I said when I went on a slowdown is the best way to put it because I wasn't gone, it was a
Mhm.
slowdown.
Mhm.
I said that I will come back in 2 to 3 years. And almost on the dot of 2 years, I came back, which was a great timing because September 2019 is when I decided to take the hiatus. We all know what happened with 2020. So it's like I didn't miss
Oh,
anything at all, like, man, that was
yeah.
good luck. That was like dodging a bullet. And yeah, so
Mhm.
I came back in 20 October, no, September 2021.
Okay. Wow. Still the pandemic. Oh my God.
Right
Yeah,
before it.
I would love to forget about those years.
Right before it. And I remember actually, I'm actually pretty good with sticking with New Year's resolutions. I love that. It's so neat. And
Hmm.
my 2019 New Year's resolution was to stop buying so many things and start doing more things. And I
Hmm.
saw more concerts than I ever have. I went to a lot of a lot of local hockey and soccer and baseball games, more than I ever have. And I set a record I'm still trying to beat of like I went to like 35 local baseball games within 1 year.
Hmm.
And I saw
Yeah.
Paul McCartney of all people live at Lambeau Field, which I live
Hmm.
like 2 blocks that way from Lambeau Field, and I'm a huge Beatles and Paul McCartney fan. So I did all that stuff right before COVID. So that was good. That was some good luck right there.
Yeah. And my goals for like 2020, I didn't reveal it that much, but my goals for 2020 was go to as many wrestling shows, um, becoming a three-time Minnesota Indie Pro Wrestling Fan of the Year. That
Nice.
was my goal because I'm already a two-time.
Ooh.
So I was working on becoming a three-time, and then I got all these other goals. My goals were to extend Michael's Corner.
Hmm.
Hmm. That was my goal. And then when COVID hit, it, everything was shut down.
Yep.
I mean, everything was shut down.
Eh.
So, so then I had a backup. Then I gotta get a backup plan
Mhm.
because I gotta know what the hell am I going to do with myself because there was no wrestling shows. And some of the wrestlers, they were not getting booked to wrestling shows, and they got a cap. It was no wrestling shows because to go to because everything was got canceled and whatnot. So I needed to find a way so I can interview wrestlers during the pandemic.
Mhm.
And that's when May of 2021 or 2020, yeah, May of 2021 or 2022, I decided to create an Instagram account.
Mhm.
And then I started interviewing wrestlers left and right.
Which was perfect
Yeah.
because a lot of wrestlers they didn't even have anything to do. So that was like right picking to grab for interviews.
Yes, it was a perfect time. You know, and it was a great time to do it. I mean, if you go back on my YouTube, you'll see all the virtual interviews that I did with these wrestlers during the pandemic. I interviewed countless of wrestlers and whatnot, and I just stick with it, and I had a great time.
Hmm.
So I did that until everything started to open up again. But I still do them. I still do these virtual interviews because I get to sit down with the person. I get to know so the people can know who is the who is the wrestler when wrestler in per you
Hmm.
know in person instead of I mean I take that back. I give them a chance to know which wrestler, who they are as a person,
Mhm.
what they do, and so Michael's Corner, you know, I was like,
It was born from that.
I was losing subscribers left and right. And I was like, I really got to do something.
Hmm.
If I want to make a comeback, I gotta create an Instagram account. Then I have to copy, copy and all
Yeah,
this
all about
editing, and
branding.
it's all about branding. And what made it, what made a comeback. Oh my God. Once I started buying equipment,
Hmm.
like I got a phone stand, I got a microphone that has a cord it's 11 feet long.
Oh, nice.
So, and I just plug it up to my phone. Well, I have the Galaxy S24 Plus.
Hmm.
I recently got a new smartphone, so I had to buy an adapter, and then I just plug it into there, and then the rest was his history.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just glad that I'm able to do interviews at wrestling shows again, and people is just really liking this and whatnot. So, and now I started doing my my virtual interviews on Zoom because it was so much easier than Instagram and Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Zoom, Zoom, all you need is is I give you the details,
Hmm.
and all you gotta do is put the meeting ID number and the passcode, and that is it.
Yeah.
Then and bringing you in was so easy.
Oh yeah.
So I really love Zoom, and I invest I invest my money into Zoom as well because I'll be doing these you know interviews. These interviews may last 30 minutes. It could be an hour.
Yeah.
You never know. But yeah, it's just that I just like to, get in depth of the wrestlers and the referees.
Yeah.
All right, TJ, I don't want to waste any more of your time. So, where can fans follow you on social media?
So on Facebook, I have both a fan page and a personal page. You can follow me on both. Personal page is TJ Bowles. I'm holding a pickleball like this because I don't know, pickleball's cool. Just cut into it. Um, and then I have a fan page, just referee TJ Bowles. Pretty simple. Um, that's where I post all my wrestling stuff, where I'm going in the weekend, um, old shots from back in the years, like throwback stuff, any pictures or any videos of recent things that I've done that I'm particularly proud of, stuff like that. So like I try and keep my personal account much more, just who I am. So I actually don't
Mhm,
post on it too much, to be honest. But my wrestling account, my refing account, I post on that quite a bit, wrestling wise. I also have
mhm.
an Instagram where I think it's just ref TJB, and I
Okay.
also have a YouTube with some of my favorite matches on it that I'm always trying to keep updated as long as I can get the matches. Just referee TJ Bowles, or ref TJB, one of those two. Either way, I think it's just referee TJ Bowles on YouTube as well. I don't have the Tickety Talk. I've never really gotten into TikTok.
Wow.
I have an
Yes.
X account, but I never, ever, ever, ever use it because from the beginning, I never liked X or Twitter. Still
Oh
don't.
my God.
Thing.
You would not like X because you know what? It is too toxic. And even if you try to follow me on there, oh my God, I am too outspoken.
Yeah, no, it's just I don't know. I've never liked it. Plus, like I have an account on there, and I'll post once or twice, every 3 or 4 months, and like I have like couple hundred followers or whatever, and like 10 people will see my stuff, and I'm like, why am I even wasting my time? You know? So I just Instagram, Facebook, both personal and professional. I don't care which one people follow, and
Okay.
a YouTube that I'm kind of proud of.
All right. Well, TJ, oh my, again, it's so nice. Thank you for taking the time to do this with me. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'll bring you back on. If anything comes up, just let me know.
Cool.
Do you have any one more thing? Do you have any upcoming wrestling shows that you're doing?
A lot everywhere. This weekend I'm taking off from all of wrestling. I've actually turned down a few high prestigious bookings that I shouldn't turn down. But I'm going to the IndyCar race at Road America because again, racing, yeah. Aside from that, June 14th and 15th, I'll be in Ironheart, Ironheart Pro. That's a place I love to frequent. One of my favorite places. Very well ran out there. Um,
Mhm.
I have my own show coming up here in Green Bay, Hybrid Wrestling Entertainment on June 28th.
Mhm.
July 6th, RCCW out in La Crosse. July 19th, I'm in Chicago for CSW. Back out into Ironheart on July 26th and 27th. I'm doing a wrestling show at an anime convention on July 20th here in Green Bay. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm always somewhere every weekend.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for plugging in
Oh
those
yeah.
shows that you're going to so people know. So yeah, like I said, if you want to be on Michael's Corner again, just just DM me and we'll get this set up and
Sounds
then
good.
then some.
Thanks for the invite and thanks for the return invite.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You have a good evening, okay?
You as well. I'll see you next time, bud.
Yep.
Let's see here. I don't know technology. This button.
Yeah, there you go. So, oh my God. So that was a great interview. Yeah, TJ Bowles. Oh my goodness. What a decent guy he is. I love doing these interviews with these wrestlers and referees because oh my God. That was that was an interesting interview. So, that will do it for this episode of Michael's Corner. Make sure, make sure again, you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Michael's Wrestling Channel. And don't forget to turn on that notification so that you're not missing out on any content that I post on YouTube. So, okay, you guys. You have a great evening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Michael's Corner.